My name is Prezelski. I'm one of the candidates in this race for State House of Representatives. I also wanted to note the presence of Dave Bradley. One of the reasons why we have so many folks running is because Dave isn't able to run because of our term limits. But I understand that he's found another way to serve, and I hope that he's successful in that endeavor. And another important point, last check, the Wildcats are ahead 22-21. Really important. Let me give you the bad news and the good news. The bad news, we've talked about it. 300,000, or actually more than 300,000 people that might lose access coverage if this budget passes. We have 800,000 students in this state, or people in this state, that don't have a high school diploma, and the governor is going to get rid of GED in Arizona, so they will have no option. And we can go through the litany of this stuff. But there's some good news. And the good news is we're going to have Terry Goddard as governor. We're going to probably be able to control one of the houses in the legislature, and then we're all of a sudden going to be in charge of something, which means we've got to take responsibility for what's going on. We need to come up with solutions. I want to tell you a little bit about what I've been doing in the community, and tell you a little bit about where I'm thinking about what's going to happen here. I sit on the county's bond advisory committee, and for a lot of you guys that don't know this, because of what we call the Truth in Bonding Act, there's actually a citizens committee that actually determines what bonds are going to be sold and how that bond money is spent. And I've been on that committee fighting for things like fighting for things like neighborhood reinvestment, of the affordable housing fund that the county has, as well as the open space bonds, which is something that we have that's pretty unique down here in southern Arizona, and it says a lot about us as Tucsonans that we're willing to preserve our natural heritage here. But one of the other important thing that I've learned on the bond committee, when I first got on there, I was kind of like a midterm appointment. There was a vacancy, and I kind of came in, and we were. My first day on there, they handed us a list of $1.5 billion worth of projects, and they said, could you guys pare this down to $800 million? You have until next month. And, there wasn't a single project on that list that wasn't worthwhile. But what we and my colleagues, who included a lot of Republicans and a lot of Democrats, we were able to pare that down, and what we had to do was evaluate, does this program, how many people are going to benefit from this program? Does this program actually benefit a community that hasn't gotten much so far? So I've already had to go through this process that we still will have to continue to do with our state budget, unfortunately. I work at a center for dropouts over in South Tucson called Las Artes, and I have a running gag with Steve, because basically the tile mosaics that Steve doesn't do, we do at Las Artes. We have students that are recent high school dropouts, and we help them get their GED. But while they're there getting their GED, we have them work on these public art projects as a way of paying back the community for getting their GED. That's why I'm so concerned about what's going on with adult education right now. But the other thing that I'm seeing is a lot of places where we fall down, but as well as what we do that's right in this community too, and what government can do that's right. I've got a student, or I had a student a few years ago, and they gave him over to me because he wasn't able to write his GED essay. And I don't know how much you guys know about the GED, but they give you these topics, and you're supposed to write a 5-paragraph essay. And his topic was, what am I going to do after I get my GED? And I had to sit down with him, and he could not think of anything because he really didn't have much to look forward to. I found out that every morning he was dropped off at our center by a van from the sheriff's department, and then picked up at the end of the day because he was in jail. He'd spend his nights in jail. He'd committed a felony of some sort, and that's what he had to look forward to every evening, was jail. But part of what the judge did was say, if you can get your GED, we'll talk about your sentencing and so on and so forth. Well, we worked with him, and it wasn't just me, it was some other staff members, and we got him to a place where he could start thinking about what he was going to do later. It wasn't just this dreary world that we were introducing him to. So, you know, and I think about that, and frankly, that wouldn't have happened unless there was a government that cared and wanted, and saw that child as something other than a felon. And I think what we're missing at the legislature are people that see their neighbors as something other, that include everyone as their neighbors, that don't just think of what they can say at a Republican district club meeting to get them riled up about those people over there, you know, those gay people, those Mexicans, those people stealing welfare money. I mean, so that's, and I see this all every day, and I'm hoping to help represent those folks. Lastly, I run a political blog called Rum Romism and Rebellion. A few of you read it, hopefully. You're supposed to clap so that I know who you are. That's much better. Anyway, one of the things I've been able to do on there, you know, a lot of it is frankly me complaining about what's going on in there, and a lot of you enjoy that. But also, I'm able to keep people informed about what's going on up there, and I'm able to also keep you informed of the process that's going on up there. I hope to, as a legislator, continue to do that, because the best thing we can do is keep you guys armed, so that you know what these people are doing, so that you can call up your legislator, whether it be one of us or a Republican in another district, and say, hey, look, I read this is going on. Why are you doing this? Because what they hate the most is having lights shown on them. And frankly, our local media doesn't do that. And I hope to be able to do that as a legislator. Lastly, you know, one of the things I want to make sure that both Paul and Steve and Dave know is, back in high school, I was and this is something a lot of you guys know this probably, those of you that know me. I actually played lacrosse in high school. I'm not saying I was very good, but I was a goalkeeper. After every game, I'd take off the pads, and I'd notice all these bruises all over me that you don't feel during the game. And so I can kind of understand what they're going through up there. And because I've had that experience, I'm ready for it. So thank you very much. Also, by the way, I am running as a clean elections candidate. So $5 would be appreciated. I know you all brought your money in $5 increments for us, because we always run out of change when running clean. And I would appreciate your vote, and thank you.